Many viewers requested updates on the promised tales, but few ever returned for sequels. One anonymous viewer from July 2024 changed that. A mysterious viewer from July 2024 provided a follow-up, prompting the narrator to share what happened next. The narrator invites viewers to revisit the original story or dive directly into the sequel. Once, beaches terrified him, but now they're a source of comfort and memory. He's about to reveal the source of his childhood fears, tied deeply to his memories at the beach house. In childhood, beaches were paradise, especially when visiting Charles's house at LBI. At age 16, he had the rare luxury of spending unsupervised time with friends Charles and Riley at LBI. Their drive to LBI was chaotic, with Riley's driving skills leading to a humorous disaster. They arrived safely and began unpacking, setting up for a carefree weekend at the beach house. The narrator explains the house's unique layout, designed for privacy and freedom of movement. At that age, the idea of having the entire beach house to themselves felt like paradise, especially with girls around. They spent hours coordinating with girls like Rosie, Alexa, and Sophie to visit their beach house for fun. He'd already stockpiled weed and his parents' alcohol, setting the stage for an unforgettable beach house adventure. Everything felt right. The girls were fun, flirty, and we all knew where the night was headed. At one point, we decided to smoke in Charles's backyard pool, small but perfect for 6 drunk teens. Confused, I glanced over my shoulder, and there they were, houses across the narrow channel. But what was he looking at? He whispered he saw someone standing on the dock. I figured he was messing with us. People live here, I said. Charles shook his head. That family, I know them personally. The girls were freaked out though, saying they wanted to go back inside. As we dried off outside, Riley jumped cursed and pointed at the lagoon. We turned around. Even in the dim light, there was movement on the opposite dock. We froze. Go inside now, Charles said quietly, voice shaking, pointing toward the sliding door. We sprinted in, Riley slamming the door shut and locking it. Charles ran to lock the front one too. We all bolted into the room that no one could see from outside. Silence, terror, waiting for what might come next. A few minutes passed. Nothing. Then Riley cursed again, revealing he'd forgotten to lock the sliding deck door. We heard footsteps above us. Quiet, deliberate. None of us had weapons. We were drunk. Running was our only option. We sprinted for the front door and bolted into the car. Riley started it up in a flash. We pulled out of the driveway. Once far enough away, we called the police. It was a nightmare. When they came back to search the house, total devastation. All valuables on the top floor were gone. Worse yet, Charles's family owned a Boston whaler boat that was also stolen. The getaway vehicle. His dad kept spare keys in a hatch below the steering wheel. The police figured that's how they got away so fast. How they knew where it was, still a mystery. The police never caught them and likely won't now. Charles Riley. And I think whoever did this knew Charles's family well. They knew about the key, and the house was supposed to be vacant that weekend. It's been years since that night, but every day I still lock every door and window in my home. Lock your doors at night, just do it. Admittedly, Charles and I fell out of touch after college and moving to different cities, so even though I was supposed to hear updates, they were lost in time. Until now. I wasn't planning on going, but my girlfriend convinced me it might be fun to see how everyone turned out. Solo trip, never fun, but as soon as I stepped into the venue, Charles was already there talking with Riley and some other guys from our old crew. It was surreal, seeing people you haven't spoken to in years. Same faces, same energy, but different somehow. I walked over, joined them, and it was surprisingly nice catching up. As the night wore on, things broke into smaller groups. Charles pulled us aside and asked if we wanted a drink after everything wrapped up. Riley had an early flight or so, he said, but I was game. We ended up at this little dive bar, just reminiscing over beers. The old days came rushing back, and before long, the beach house story floated into conversation. Charles slapped the table as if he'd just recalled a crucial detail. The narrator took notes carefully, determined to recount the story exactly as Charles told it, because what came next was wild. The narrator took careful notes, striving for accuracy in how Charles recounted the events, because what followed was too wild to forget. Charles began explaining that his younger brother, Kieran, was now 19, and far more troublemaking than they'd been back then. According to Charles, Kieran and his friends had become far more reckless and troublemaking than anyone remembered from their beach days. A year ago, without asking permission, Kieran and his 2 friends snatched their family's brand new replacement boat, stolen just months before. Their plan, a carefree afternoon cruise complete with beer and no adult supervision, clearly risky given their age. Worse yet, They anchored their boat dangerously close to Carville Island, which was technically part of a wildlife refuge meant for nighttime protection. Later, Charles confirmed Carville Island belonged to a wildlife refuge, officially off-limits after dark. Kieran's group planned to anchor near the beach, sip beer, swim ashore, and watch stars without a care. They swam back to shore, drove the boat over, took pictures, and then panicked about what to do next. One of Kieran's friends turned around and spotted a man walking toward them. Charles confirmed it. The stranger picked up speed like he was chasing them. They sprinted as fast as they could, seeing the man turn back toward his boat, which was now dangerously close. They reached the boat, but New Jersey's nighttime boating laws made escape impossible, adding unbearable tension. Once home, Kieran refused to call the police, afraid his parents would punish him more than whatever they'd seen. Eventually, they filed a report, but the police did nothing. The case faded into obscurity, just like their first mystery. And so, the question lingered unanswered. Why anchor so close to shore if no one noticed? Charles shrugged and offered his theory about the stolen boat. Maybe it was disguised enough that no one would notice. The narrator questions the logic of anchoring so close to shore, suggesting perhaps the boat was deliberately hidden. Charles offers a final theory about the man with the shovel. Perhaps he was searching for something, or hiding something, and that fear forced Kieran to confess. They continued chatting for a while before saying their goodbyes. The story still feels unresolved. Reflecting on the tale, the narrator admits that despite hearing it all, he's left with more questions than answers, and perhaps those mysteries will never be solved.